The 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR and SR5. The two base model trims, and while the two are very similar and the SR offers base model pricing and the SR5 offers slightly better features, the two also have a few differences. So in this video, I want to break down the difference between the SR and the SR5, which are the base model trim levels for the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma, and see which one is actually worth the money and which one is a better choice for you, and see if there is enough difference to actually justify the higher price of the SR5, or if the SR model is a better choice. So I'm going to break this comparison down in 5 different categories, including features, reliability and ratings, resale value, pricing, and cost to own and maintain. So of course, features are going to be a very large deciding factor in which vehicle you decide to go with and which trim level you ultimately decide in, because in all reality, just like there are options to add on other packages and accessories for an additional cost, it's no different when you're actually looking at the trim level that you want to purchase and feeling as though certain features or certain accessories that are already included are worth the price of the actual vehicle itself. So first, let's start with which features are standard between the SR and the SR5 and that they actually have in common. So for starters, they do both have the same bed length options. So I feel like this is typically a pretty big determining factor in which truck that you go for and which trim level you get, because typically when people are buying a truck, they have it for very specific reasons and they need a certain bed length. They also have the same warranty coverage, which includes bumper-to-bumper coverage for 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever comes first. And they also have a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty as well, and a 2-year roadside assistance warranty. They also have the same fuel capacities and the same amount of interior space and sizing of the overall truck as well. They both offer Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, push to start, navigation systems, driver attention monitoring. They also both have forward collision warning, lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, and pedestrian detection. Both the SR and the SR5 also have the same wheel and tire options as well. But of course, the main thing about the features is the differences, so let's take a look at what the SR and the SR5 don't have in common for the features. First of all, the SR's base drivetrain option provides 228 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, while the SR5 gives you 208 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. And in terms of standard and optional features, the SR5 has heated seat option while the SR does not, and the SR5 also has available wireless phone charging while the SR does not. The SR5 also has rear cross traffic alert and rear seat reminders, which are both not even options or available on the SR. And this is a slight difference, but the SR5 also has an 11-inch ground clearance, while the SR only has a 10.8-inch ground clearance. So overall, the features aren't that different, but if any of the features that are different are important to you, then this could be a pretty large deciding factor. But let's take a look at reliability and ratings, as well as some of the other categories, to see if it truly weighs out the difference in price. The SR and the SR5 both have the same overall ratings. They both received an 8.8 out of 10 for overall quality rating, and the Tacoma as a whole has an overall safety rating of a 4 out of 5 stars based on crash test ratings. The 2024 Toyota Tacoma has also received a 9.2 out of 10 in terms of reliability ratings, and the Toyota Tacoma as a whole is ranked 2 out of 7 for best mid-size trucks based on reliability, retained value, and safety ratings. So of course, in terms of reliability and ratings, the SR and the SR5 don't have any differences. They are very close and they are in the same lineup, so realistically, those ratings are typically based on the entire Tacoma lineup, so there's not really any differences there, but those are definitely some things that you want to keep in mind in terms of the Tacoma versus other pickup trucks. But for the SR versus the SR5, there's not really any difference there. And in terms of resale value, of course, you're not going to see another difference here, but like I said before, if you're considering the Tacoma versus another pickup truck, then this is something to consider as well. But if we're looking at a 5-year depreciation rate, the Toyota Tacoma SR and the SR5 both lose about 22.4% of their value in those first 5 years. Now, back to where we start to see a difference is going to be with pricing and the cost breakdown. In terms of pricing, the 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR starts at about $33,700 if you don't add on any accessories or additional additional upgrades or anything of the sort. And the 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR5 starts at about $36,200, again with no add-ons or upgrades or anything of that sort. But price alone is not enough to determine the actual cost of a vehicle, so to give a more efficient cost breakdown, let's look at the overall cost and all the factors that actually go into owning and maintaining a vehicle, and how that would look in terms of financing, as well as total interest paid, car insurance, gas, maintenance, and all the things that go into actually owning and maintaining the Toyota Tacoma, and the difference over the course of 6 years. And let's see about how much you should be making in order to make this a comfortable cost for you for the SR and the SR5, and see what the true in-depth differences are in terms of pricing. So we discussed the starting price on the previous category, but like I said, there's more that goes into that. So the Toyota Tacoma SR and the SR5 both have a delivery fee of about $1,495. And if we were to look at about an 8% sales tax on each of these trim levels, then for the Toyota Tacoma SR, you'd be looking at about $2,815.60 in sales tax, whereas on the SR5, you'd be looking at about $3,015.60 in sales tax being added to the SR5, which would then bring the total prices to about $38,010.60 for the Toyota Tacoma SR and about $40,710.60 for the Toyota Tacoma SR5. Now, to keep the financing terms even, let's say that for either vehicle you got approved for 72 months, which is a total of 6 years, at a 7% APR and put $0 down on either one. Then your monthly payments for the Toyota Tacoma SR would be about $648.04 a month on average, whereas for the SR5, you'd be looking at about $694.08 a month on average. And in terms of total interest paid, for the SR, you'd be paying about $8,648.49 over the course of those 6 years, whereas for the Tacoma SR5, you would be paying about $9,262.82 in interest over those 6 years. But like I said, let's also factor in further than just the financing and the monthly payments, and let's also factor in car insurance, which for the Toyota Tacoma as a whole is going to be about $2,196 a year, which comes out to be about $183 a month. But that number is going to change depending on your age, the state that you live in, your driving history, and a bunch of other factors. So just make sure you're aware that that number is going to fluctuate a bit. And in terms of gas costs, the SR and the SR5 have the same miles per gallon and the same fuel capacities. So if we factored in that the average person drives about 1,200 miles per month or about 15,000 miles per year, then for both trim levels, you'd be looking at about $190.90 a month for your average gas cost. And in terms of maintenance for both of these, you'd be looking at about $478 a year, which is about $39.84 a month on average for your monthly maintenance costs. And if you added all these monthly expenses together, then for the SR, you'd be looking at about $1,061.78 a month, and for the SR5, you'd be looking at about $1,107.82 a month on average for the SR5. And if you wanted to keep this at a comfortable 15% of your average income, then that means that for the SR, you would need to be making about $84,942.40 annually in order to keep it in that comfortable 15% range. And then for the Toyota Tacoma SR5, you would need to be making about $88,625.60 annually in order to keep it in that comfortable 15% range. And to also put it into a further perspective, if you paid those same monthly expenses on the SR or the SR5 for the entire 72 months of the financing terms, then in those 6 years, you would pay a total of $76,448.16 total in those 6 years for the Toyota Tacoma SR. And then for the Toyota Tacoma SR5, you would pay a total of $79,763.04 over those 6 years for the SR5. So of course, this isn't a huge difference in terms of price. At the starting price, the SR and the SR5 are only a $2,500 difference. And when you factor in all things considered over the course of 6-year financing, then it's about $3,314.88 of a difference in what you would pay for over the course of 6 years. And that's including interest, sales tax, car insurance, gas, maintenance, all considered into what you'd be paying for over the course of that time. But if you take all these things into consideration and compare the features that are important to you, plus the price difference, then it should be pretty easy to decide which one is a better value to you personally. For me, I don't feel as though there is a large difference in terms of pricing, and the features that are different from the SR5 to the SR, such as heated seats and wireless phone charging, those are things that I would consider to be worth it for the price. So I personally would probably go with the SR5 trim level, but if you're more worried about the pricing and the size of the bed and things of that nature, and you don't really care so much for the features, then the SR trim level might be a better choice because it is cheaper and the bed sizes are the same as the SR5. And if those features don't really matter to you, then it's not really a loss and really just saved money. But if you're more focused on those few features, like I said, such as heated seats, wireless phone charging, or even rear seat reminder, or more focused on things like horsepower, which is slightly better in the SR5, then the SR5 might be a better trim option for you if those things outweigh the price difference of the two. But let me know in the comments below which one you feel is a better value and which one you think is a better option overall for the price itself. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next.